KKR and everything else that's going on. But I think at a macro level, what it has done is it's really brought a lot of resources into sports. And through the franchise model, I think you all know, and some of this is a lot of public information as to how players have flourished and are being appropriately and arguably sometimes overcompensated, which is fine. But what it has done is it's brought a lot of resources into the entire ecosystem of sports, which has allowed for, if you see facilities that have evolved today in terms of the stadiums and the type of fan experience that one gets when going to a stadium, that's been a huge plus from that perspective. But just looking at it also from a franchise perspective, and question that Vineet posed is, to me, as I lead this franchise, the two key pillars that we always focus on is the brand and also the fan base. Because we are in an environment where most of the sports that we're following today as franchise sports have all had national following, like we've been doing over the last few weeks with our team there. But suddenly you come into a franchise model and you expect the city to attach themselves to you. So on the one hand, there is an entertainment product that people are very curious about. They come in, they buy a ticket maybe, they come to the stadium, watch it on TV or whatever. But for this to sustain and flourish, there needs to be a fan base.
So if you put that in perspective, now I'll just put you through the acid test of the reality of the fact. So how does it work? Does India want to be a sporting nation? Yes. Do the youth of India want to play sport? Yes. Do all of us want to play sport? Yes. Do we want to be one of the finest nations driven by sports? Yes. But the fact of the matter is that it doesn't work like this in our country. So 50 odd federations, 49 are run by politicians. And they're all 65 plus. Game over. Now, having said that, in the recent times there have been interesting opportunities. So why did BCCI jump into IPL? Entire BCCI's valuation was hovering around somewhere some 2,000-3,000 crores, with IPL paying 15,000 crores. So BCCI backed IPL, banged it out of the park because it economically helped them. So either it's got to be economical, or you need a Neeta Bhabhi who emotionally says, throw some petty cash, let's launch a football league now. Bang it up. So it's either economy or it's emotions. That's the way it works. But India is poised to be a sporting nation, period. That is why kabaddi, football, all sports are going to work. League, all formats are going to work because India wants to play. India wants to play at any cost. The mistake that the government is making, the mistake that Mr. Narendra Modi is making is not realizing that, and he's not building an infrastructure for that. So individual corporate houses, passionate people like Abhishek, Mr. Ambani and whatnot, are actually getting out there and making a difference. This is bullshit. Somebody give a DVD to our Prime Minister of a movie called Invictus, which was made on a true story of Nelson Mandela. He transformed the entire nation that was torn apart with apartheid and economic recession through rugby. He went from jail to the rugby field. It's a true story about South Africa ranked as the lowest team in the world, and that year South Africa was hosting the Rugby World Cup, and guess what? Nelson Mandela backed that team and they won that World Cup. And the whole country united. Everybody forgot about everything else. So that's the power of sport. And Nelson Mandela said, quote unquote, sports has the power to change the world. So truly speaking, I really get disturbed. We won the World Cup in Wankhede. We forgot to celebrate it because we had IPL in 6 days. Mr. Manmohan Singh could have saved his job if he took that team for 12 months and traveled the nation and celebrated the victory of World Cup after 28 years. Are you serious? So truly, it's economy and emotion. And I think the corporates are backing sport, the fans are backing sport, broadcasters are backing sport. So this is going to turn into a reality, and I just hope that the government does the same. Then it will be ek aur ek gyara. Right now it's just one pillar actually wanting to make it happen. Now about broadcast. I mean, the broadcasters don't have an option, to be honest. So look at kabaddi. They transformed it into a viewing sport. So broadcasters need content, period. Because that's where they're going to get their fan base from. So they're just going to make the content work, period. So there is no stopping for broadcasters backing sports come what may. Abhishek?
Good afternoon. It's kind of tough following that up, but no, just stop the coffee, that's all. Yeah, I think the greatest benefit of getting to speak last is you get to agree with everybody. and they pretty much covered everything and said everything, and I agree with all of them. There has to be a fair mix of passion and economics, because I really do believe they go hand in hand, and if we do away with even one of them, I think the entire structure is just going to crumble. So, like I said, they've already said what I needed to say, and we should, yeah.
So Abhishek, you obviously have a humongous fan following yourself, and we all know your passion for sports and the blue that you are from as a sports fan. The question is, what made you invest in sport, and what about kabaddi and football, which really excited you?
Firstly, I'm sitting on this esteemed panel as I'd like to believe as a team owner and somebody who's passionate about sports. I'm not here because I'm a film star, I've not brought that to the table in my sporting ventures. Whether that's had a ripple effect, so be it. I've always wanted to do something with sports because, very similar to Shailendra, I do believe that there's a lot that needs to still be done in the country with regards to sports. I was a sportsman in school, and I've always been interested in doing something in India with the Indian context. Unfortunately, we still believe in India that sports is just fooling around and it's not really a proper career. I think with the advent of the IPL, it's really gone to prove that you don't have to be just out of over 1 billion people, the lucky 11 to be able to make career into cricket into a career. And I really think the IPL has set the foundation for a lot of these leagues. So it was the penchant to want to do something with sports. Having been a sportsman, being passionate as a fan of sports. Kabaddi came, I do agree, initially Kabaddi was a very left field kind of a thought. You know, nobody really understood. My first question when Charu spoke to me was like, really? And when he said, just come with me to a match. And when I went and I saw the people and the energy that they had, I just knew that this is something that has to be brought to the spotlight and something that has to be packaged for television and given that kind of an audience. The one thing that was very eye-opening for me in terms of Kabaddi, which I don't think many people in this room will also think was even played anymore until they saw the Pro Kabaddi League, was when I said it's a very rural sport. It's not really has anything to do with you know, the urban India that is flourishing today. And Charu asked me something which I thought was a trick question. He said, how many Kabaddi clubs do you think there are in the city of Mumbai? And being over smart, obviously, I thought it was a trick question, so I said 50. Yeah. And he said 1,500. And that's how invisible the sport was to us. And the great thing about Kabaddi is everybody knows it, everybody's played it, which is not the case, say, in football, which is the other sport I'm involved in. So we had a ready fan base, and I think the thing to note in Kabaddi was, even if you go today in the second season that's going to start in July, if you go to any of the stadiums, it's not really team-centric. They're just there to enjoy the experience of watching a Kabaddi match. Whereas in football, it's the complete opposite. I remember I walked in with the Chennai FC team to Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Delhi to play the Delhi Dynamos, and I was booed. And I was so excited, where people didn't think I would be, but it went to show that people are getting behind their team. There is a very healthy rivalry that's being set up. That's what sports is about. It's about the fans. So whereas in Kabaddi you have fans that haven't really chosen teams yet, but they're just fans of the sport. In football you have fans of the teams, which is, I think, both are healthy. So when Kabaddi started, and you know, by the grace of God, it did exceptionally well. I think it was a huge boost in the arm for a lot of other leagues as well, that some of them are tapering out, some of them have been revived. Because like Shailendra said, the market is out there, the broadcasters want to put it out. I think Star did a fantastic job with both football and Kabaddi. And I really think that the future is bright, but obviously, yes, we can't just rest on our laurels of what we've done in the first seasons. You have to get down to the grassroots, like Radha was saying. You have to set up infrastructure that is the most important, and take it from there. And you know, like they say, you build it and they will come.
Vivek, you've been investing in running for a while, and perhaps Mumbai Marathon